Hello, I'm Jay Beershank. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have another edition of book reviews, and this setting is on Whidbey Island, where my last review was shot. Actually, I shot the last one right over there. This is a property that's been in my family for a long time on Whidbey Island, Washington, and here we are. The book we're going to do today is a really fun book. I love books that are primarily character analyses, like The Man from the Underground by Dostoevsky, or for that matter, The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky, one of the most magnificent books I've ever read, and the eloquence and magnitude of that book cannot be expressed through words, so go check that one out. That one's like a quadra character analysis, but or also The Picture of Dorian Gray is a good character analysis, or The Way of the Peaceful Warrior is a good character analysis through the character of Aristotle. And so there's books like that, and I just really enjoy getting more well-rounded, articulated views of archetypes, because I just really think it helps with empathy for one, but also personal development. And it's really easy to become something and get caught up within an identity of what that is, and I feel like when you have a better understanding of all those different archetypes, then you're less likely to fall victim to becoming one, if that makes sense. So I think that's really interesting. And this is a particularly poignant archetype discovery for me, because this archetype is the superfluous man. The superfluous man is a very common theme throughout most older Russian literature that I've read. And it's not necessarily a bad man or a bad person, but it's a man devoid of passion and devoid of purpose and fulfillment, and it's an easy one that I've found myself slipping into quite frequently, and I've found myself slipping into it less as I've started to read more about it in the past few years, and started to almost view myself falling into it as like a caricature, and take myself less seriously, if that makes sense. So yeah, the superfluous man. This book is supposedly the chief analysis and chief exploration of this archetype, and one of the first books ever written in classic Russian literature that goes deep into this archetype, and is the foundation on which further superfluous men are birthed out of. And that book is A Hero of Our Time by Mikhail Lermontov. Mikhail Lermontov. This book is about Pechorin. Pechorin is the superfluous man. He's the quintessential superfluous man. And this book is a couple different times out of his life where he goes on certain adventures and has certain experiences with people, and it just is an in-depth look at how he conducts himself and how he decides to navigate situations with other people to get what he wants, or to preserve his own safety, or to do this or that. And it's very interesting, especially if you begin to see yourself in the archetype or have any resonance with it, which I really do believe that if you don't resonate with any sort of archetype, then you're lying to yourself in a sense, because I mean they're all within us in some way or another. And my tendency to maybe resonate with archetypes like this is probably related more to my more prevalent vanity or certain things like that, because this archetype is like coming from a charismatic, educated, wealthy, handsome person, and obviously my ego desires to be that. So when I read about that, it appeals to that part of myself. But the thing about the superfluous man is he has all those things, but he finds no fulfillment in life, no matter how much he contributes or how capable he becomes. He just cannot simply find fulfillment in anything. And it's a really interesting state of self-loathing and self-deprecation. It's very self-based for sure. It's very like he's in his own world and the world's revolving around him, and and he just can't find fulfillment anywhere outside of himself, except for then the wallowing of his own depth and things like that, which is very reminiscent of Dorian Gray from the Oscar Wilde novel. So yeah, this book goes into Pechorin's adventures as a superfluous man. And there's one excerpt in here. I usually don't read excerpts, but I really liked when I read this one. I remember feeling very moved by it. So I'm going to share it with you, and this will give you a very clear picture of this man and of this archetype. So here it is. "Listen, Maxim Maximych," said Pechorin. "Mine is an unfortunate disposition. Whether it is the result of my upbringing or whether it is innate, I know not. I only know this, that if I am the cause of unhappiness in others, I myself am no less unhappy. Of course, that is a poor consultation to them, only the fact remains that such is the case. In my early youth, from the moment I ceased to be under the guardianship of my relations, I began madly to enjoy all the pleasures which money could buy, and of course, such pleasures became irksome to me. Then I launched out into the world of fashion, and that too soon palled upon me. I fell in love with fashionable beauties and was loved by them, but my imagination and egoism alone were aroused. My heart remained empty. I began to read, to study, but sciences also became utterly wearisome to me. I saw that neither fame nor happiness depends on them in the least, because the happiest people are the uneducated, and fame is good fortune, to attain which you have only to be smart. Then I grew bored. Soon afterwards I was transferred to the Caucasus, and that was the happiest time of my life. I hoped that under the bullets of the Chechens boredom could not exist. A vain hope. In a month I grew so accustomed to the buzzing of the bullets and to the proximity of death that to tell the truth, I paid more attention to the gnats, and I became more bored than ever, because I had lost what was almost my last hope. When I saw Bella in my own house, when for the first time I held her on my knee and kissed her black locks, I, fool that I was, thought that she was an angel sent to me by sympathetic fate. Again I was mistaken. The love of a savage is little better than that of your lady of quality. The barbaric ignorance and simplicity of the one weary you as much as the courtesy of the other. I am not saying that I do not love her still. I am grateful to her for a few fairly sweet moments. I would give my life for her, only I am bored with her. Whether I am a fool or a villain, I know not, but this is certain. I am also most deserving of pity, perhaps more than she. My soul has been spoiled by the world. My imagination is unquiet, my heart insatiate. To me, everything is of little moment. I become as easily accustomed to grief as to joy, and my life grows emptier day by day. One expedient only is left to me: travel. So there you go. That's a pretty clear picture of what this guy's going through, and that kind of self-loathing that comes with this archetype of the superfluous man, but also this profound capability that goes along with it. And he's literally describing a situation where he has this beautiful princess that he's abducted from her castle, basically. Because of her beauty, he wanted her to fall in love with him, so he abducts her, he brings her to his house, he locks her in a room, and she struggles for like months and months and months, but then eventually, or maybe weeks, anyway, she Stockholm syndromes and she falls in love with him, and they have a few sweet moments, like he says, but then once she falls in love, and once he's won, and once he's been able to, you know, have this situation go as he dreamed that it could through his own capabilities and like trying to seize upon his own potential, now he's bored because he's done it. And he has this woman who is madly in love with him, who he's abducted and like brainwashed, and this guy is like, dude, why can't you love her? I thought you were trying to do this, I thought this was your whole goal. But his whole goal was almost like the stroking of his own vanity and ego through executing something that would be difficult, or or this beauty of a chaotic situation or something like that. But I mean, you can interpret that how you want. But so it's a really interesting archetype, and it's just one that I think is profound one to look deep into, and also to give you such a better understanding of like future novels that you'll read, and give you a better understanding of future individuals that you'll meet. Because I really love that about reading. To me, I think we understand and we know so much, but we can't articulate it to ourselves through words. And then having magnificent authors narrate certain things to us, you know, can only just like blossom our understanding into like this beautiful flower that we can smell and like relish in the delights of its beauty, of its full capacity. So that's what I really enjoy about reading, and that's what I really enjoyed about this book, to give me a better understanding of that archetype. There's also a part in this where he talks about how this character is hyper-real or meta-real, which is an idea that I've talked about, how character analyses in books are so much more real than any one individual you'll ever meet, because they represent a whole strata of individuals, you know, combined together into the, you know, amalgam of this one. So this is an interesting footnote that the author put at the end of the books. He said, "Pechorin, gentlemen, is in fact a portrait, but not of one man only. He is a composite portrait, made up of all the vices which flourish full grown amongst the present generation. You will tell me, as you have told me before, that no man can be so bad as this, and my reply will be, if you believe that such persons as the villains of tragedy and romance could exist in real life, why can you not believe in the reality of Pechorin? If you admire fictions much more terrible and monstrous, why is it that this character, even if regarded merely as a creature of the imagination, cannot obtain quarter at your hands? Is it not because there is more truth in it than may be altogether palatable to you?" So it's a really easy read. It's about 100 pages. The pages are kind of big, but it's a pretty easy read. It's beautiful writing. I was really impressed by it. I loved it. And yeah, it gave me a better understanding of so many novels I've read recently by Dostoevsky and by Tolstoy and by other Russian authors. I understood where certain characters have been born out of. Like Ivan Karamazov, for example. I really saw that, and yeah, anyway, it's a really good book. I'd recommend it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I don't usually read excerpts, so this review got kind of long. I hope you guys don't mind. I hope you made it through, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.